Thank you all for joining us today. Thanks for the introduction, Brian. I know we've done a couple of webinars recently on this newest feature, Teams DID, but we're going to go a little bit deeper and get into the setup and configuration today. With that being said, we're not able to pull the phone number information from Graph API. It does come across in CDR records, and we're using Graph API to pull that. But we can't gather all of the phone numbers, only if the phone number is being used in a CDR record. So we did some research, found a different way of gathering that data. And so in order to have access to that, we've got to make some additions to the Entra or Admin Center in the Enterprise Application section. And don't fear, we do have a knowledge base article on that. So this will take you through step by step, and I'll kind of go through one as well in our system. But it's pretty easy for basic steps. Follow the guide, and we should be good to go. So as I said, we'll go back in here. Let me just back out of here. I was playing with that earlier. So get into your EntreMicrosoft.com. You should be logged in. And then you just head on over to Enterprise Applications. And from there, you can either do a search for Variphy, or I don't have too many in here. And I happen to know from getting prepared for this webinar, it is down here. So we're going to either search for Variphy Call. This should come up, or just if you find it in there, well, Variphy Call Analytics for MS Teams. So in here, we want to go to Roles and Administrators. And this is where I always get confused, so pay attention here. You don't really search for anything here. You see this here link, assignable roles that can be assigned here to allow managing this resource. So you want to click on this. It'll take you to the All Roles page. And from here, we want to search for, let me get my knowledge base article up on my other screen so I know what to search for. And this is where we search for Teams telephony. And I'm just going to put part of it in, and then it pops up. So we click on this Teams telephony administrator. And this will not be populated if you're setting it up for the first time. But the next step would be to add assignments, and that's where that will get added. So in my add assignments, I'm going to search for Variphy, and you'll see a list of them here. Notice this is the one we want, and this is the one that's in here. It is grayed out because it is already there, but it would normally have a checkbox here. You check that, click on Add at the bottom of the screen, and then you will have it added, and that's all there is to it. So, like I said, that allows us to pull the phone number information from Teams. So we can get started into the Variphy portion of this. And what we're going to do is once you get logged in, you'll notice I got a DID management icon over here. We're going to go over there. We're not going to go to DN management. That is more for Cisco. So if you are a multi-platform, say you're converting from Cisco or migrating from Cisco to Teams, or you're going to stay hybrid in both, this is great application so you can do your DMT management for both platforms in one easy to use GUI. So, but if you're familiar with the CUCM DID management, it does use the DN. So as far as the Teams and what we're talking about here, we're just going to focus on DID management and the configure screen. So I'm going to hop on over to configure. And for this to work, you'll need to create sites, a site or multiple sites, DID sites, and one or multiple blocks of DIDs. So I'm going to click on sites. Normally this will not be populated. These were already in this lab. So as you notice, we've got one for CUCM, got one for Teams, and then some information here. So I've got 2 blocks assigned to my CUCM site and 2 for my MS Teams site. So you can have multiple blocks assigned to a specific site. This other information is not filled out. It's not required, but if you want to get more specific on an address and location for this site, you're more than welcome to do that. So for the purpose here, I'm not going to edit. Well, we can edit one of these just to show you. Pretty basic CUCM. This is filled in because these blocks are assigned to this CUCM site. So normally this would not be filled in. So to create a new site, we're just going to click on Create DID Site, and let's name this Verify. Verify DID makes sense. Again, not required, but you can put a description, address, city, state, all that good stuff. And then I don't have to do anything with the blocks, so I'm creating a brand new site, so Verify DID Site. All I have to do is click Save. Notice it's here. Obviously does not have any blocks associated. So if you've got multiple buildings, multiple locations, you can build a site for each one. However your organization is configured. So then from that step, we're going to go over to DID blocks. And again, I've got some pre-populated, a couple for notice on site. It's either CUCM cluster or MS Teams site. So this is the cross-platform that I was talking about earlier, and the number ranges that have been assigned to these DID blocks. And also gives you a little summary over here. There's 100 in this block. None of them are excluded. We're going to get into that to the exclusion in a second, but we do have one tagged here. Tagging allows you to put a description on one or multiple blocks or DID numbers. Sorry, and we will see that in one of the examples once we do get into DID management. So if I want to create a block, I can go in here. There's an option to import DID blocks, and we'll get to that in a second. I just want to create one manually, and then we'll import one as well. So click on our plus here, give it a name, give it Verify webinar block. Description, optional, don't need it. And then we want to add our site. So I'm going to add this to our MS team. Let's go to Verify DID, the one we just created. So that's our new site that we just created. And then head on over to number info. And for this, you put in your area code for your DID block. I have 931431. And I believe I wanted to do, just checking my notes, 2300 to 2350. Just keep it pretty simple for now. Notice the excluded number. So if I don't own every number in this block, I can exclude them. So let's say I'm not going to use 2345. So I can put a range here, or I can just leave it at 2345. So this is the only number in this block I don't. So I click on add number, allows me to add more, but that's good. I'm just going to leave this one here and then go over to platform association. This is where we're going to tie it to which platform. So is it a CUCM cluster or is it a Microsoft Teams tenant? So since this is Microsoft Teams tenant that we're talking about, I'm going to add that. Don't forget to add platform here. This allows you to add this platform to that block. One thing that's different, if you're familiar with CUCM, I'll just show you real quick. Say I want to add a CUCM cluster. A little bit more work to do here. Shows you the difference between adding something for CUCM or Microsoft Teams. Teams, you just add it and go on your way. So I just added that for Microsoft Teams. Here's where I can set some tag numbers. If I want to add a tag number, I can tag it. These were pre-populated, I believe, from our last webinar that Vic did on the overview of the new version that's coming out. So these are pre-populated in here. You can add your own. So I can start typing here and add a new tag, which makes sense, but we'll do that. And then user permissions allows you to set permissions for the different groups. I don't have any, and no options there, so I can I don't have any set up here, so, but it allows you to limit view users in their views of which DID blocks they can view. And save that. So let's go back. Actually, I'm not going to save it because I did want to import this. So we'll go back and do the import. I'm going to import the same block, so nothing lost there. So you've got the option. You can create your own template, but download CSV template. Let's do that real quick. It's a very basic Excel document. That's my saved one. So this is the template that you're going to download. Basically, all that's required really is a DID number, your start range. Let me just slide this over to the one I have configured already. So in this case, what I did the range 431 2300 to 2344. Remember, we don't own 2345, so I skipped that. And this is another way of doing it. I could do the range 2346 to 2355. But I just wanted to show a couple different ways of adding this. And if I was doing multi, so say some of these numbers are in CUCM and some of them could be in Teams, this is where this platform name, if I'm going to do the import. If it's all in Teams, I don't have to fill this in, but if I've got some that are CUCM and some that are Teams, I want to make sure that this gets populated with the right platform name. All right, so let's go ahead and minimize this, minimize that, and let's import that block. So here I'm in the United States, so I've got that numbering plan. So I'm going to browse. I believe I've got that saved on my desktop. Yep. So I'm going to choose my file that I just showed you and put it on the Variphy DID site. And associate, since I didn't fill in that platform column on the template, I'm going to do that here. And don't forget to add platform. And then we're going to import it. And done. So created one DID block. And this is the name of the block. And gave it to my Variphy DID site. Number range 2300 to 2355. But one was excluded. That's that 2345 that I did not have in the sheet. So there it shows my block, shows it associated with the Variphy DID site and the numbers and basically the summary that I just showed you with the import. So what does that allow us to do? We've got our site set up, we've got our block set up. So then we can go over to DID management and actually use the tool. So here we can choose our DID sites. So you can choose one or more DID sites in here. If I want to choose Teams and Variphy DID, I can do that. Or I can just choose all sites. Let's just use all of them. Similar to the DID blocks based on all sites. I've got these to choose from. Let's just add them all. In the search here, this is basically the last four digits. How I want to if I want to search for all of them and include all of them, I just do 4 capital X's or wildcard. And what do I want to search for? Available numbers, inactive and unassigned numbers, or active numbers. For this purpose, I'm going to do inactive, unassigned, and active. I can search for specific tags, so it'll show me the ones that are tagged. And then the results count. It defaults at 25. We can go up to 500. I'm going to do 100 in my case. If you do have more than 500, it will display the 500 on the page here when you click on view results. But if you do have more, we don't do display more than 500, so you'll have to use the export results option here. That allows you to export it to PDF or Excel. Let's go ahead and click on view results. And that should bring me back a list of all inactive, unassigned, or active numbers out of all my DIDs I had added. So this gives me the header information. So it gives you the DID number. And all these columns are, you can add or remove with the show hide columns. So these are the ones I don't have. These are what I'm looking at. Being cross-platform, you can mix and match these. So some of these are used for CUCM only, some are used for Teams, some are used for both. We don't have, we've got some knowledge base articles to kind of go over the ones, the existing KB articles, and I'll show you that in a minute. We modified to include the teams data. So if you're familiar with our DID knowledge base articles for CUCM, we did just modify those and add the teams information. So we talked about adding like a hover over tooltip, and that may be coming in release, the next release, but, or in the future, to tell you which platform it's applicable to. So I'm going to leave these. So it gives you your DID number, platform type. So you can see we've got the cross-platform, Teams or CUCM, DID block name that it's assigned to, and whether the DID status. So active, I've got these active. This one happens to be active on both. And as you can see, we've got the tags in use here. So this one number is on CUCM. It's active on CUCM, but it's set to migrate today, in fact. This is just a lab, so we're not going to do anything here. But if you're in the situation where you're migrating numbers from CUCM to Teams, you can use these tags for that. So this was going to be migrated on 5.7, and once it's migrated to Teams, we've got the tag. This was a CUCM number, and we'll show active for the MS Teams once that's done. So the you notice I've got some inactive unassigned for Teams. What these are is, if I go over to my Teams phone numbers page, that's what, so this one here, 7074, is Jeff Young, and we can see that here. That's the 7074 number here that was on both. It's assigned to Jeff. But then 7075 through 7078 are unassigned or inactive. And what that is showing here is they're not assigned to an entity, meaning call group, a call queue, or an auto attendant, or a person. So these are defined in Teams, but they're not being assigned. They're not assigned to anybody. So they're inactive. They can be assigned to someone. This is a great way to see which numbers I can use to assign that's already configured in Teams. All right. And then the partition, this is all CUCM information here, but then platform username, this shows who the, for Teams, who the DID number is assigned to, and it can be assigned to a person. And if you look over here, you see user assigned, so that's a person it's assigned to. And I've got a call queue on this number here, so it's assigned to a Teams call queue, and that's indicated by voice application assigned. Same with this one. This happens to be an auto attendant, customer support auto attendant, and that's not a user, but it's a voice application assignment. And you can mix or match, or what you display in here. PSTN connectivity tells you whether it's a direct routing or a calling plan, and the number, whether the number was provided by Microsoft or maybe AT&T or whoever's providing your number. All right. So that gives you an idea for inactive and active. So let's switch over to available. So, and I'm going to filter this down. So let's just do my verified DID, and probably only one choice there. So I can do all associated blocks, or just my 931.431 block that I imported. And let's view results. So 54 numbers. Remember, I imported that block of 55, but I excluded 2345, and you'll see down here, 2345 is not here. So it's not even assigned or available to be used. So the great way to, take a look at your numbers, you can, obviously put available and inactive, and search at however you want. And again, like I said, the export, if you've got quite a few DIDs over 500, that won't display on the screen. You've got the option to export it. If you are using a lot of columns like we had in that display, if you choose to show the number details, which this is, then you pick your details. If you're over like 10, I believe you probably want to deliver that as Excel. PDF tends to cut off columns. If you're familiar with our reporting, you have details that does the same thing. So, and Excel is usually easier to read with something like this with a bunch of DID numbers. So then you've got the option to download that or email it to someone. Auto-generate download file name. You can auto-generate a file, or you can make your own file name for that download or email attachment. All right. So I did mention the KB article we've got on this, and this is the configuration. And if I search for DID, we've got a number of articles on how to import blocks into DID, how to search, generate reports in DID, kind of all the stuff I just covered. And these will be cross-platform, both for CUCM and Teams. You may be wondering, are other platforms going to support DID? We sure hope so. We're looking into those currently, see if we get WebEx calling and Zoom to be supported in DID Teams. So you may see more platforms added in the future. All right, Brian, I think that's all I have.
All right, great job, man. That's good stuff. That cross-platform recording ability is going to be awesome. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. So great. We did have one question. Aaron was asking, what would be an example of permissions?
Permissions, kind of like our report permissions, where you can assign a user certain reports. You can whittle it down to, say you don't want them, a certain person to see all your DID blocks. You can, you can whittle it down to where they're only seeing certain blocks. So similar to our report permissions, where you can limit what they see, basically.
So it's kind of like restrictive visibility permissions. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, you can basically filter what ranges they see in the permissions. Okay, excellent. Okay, I think that was it for the questions. I don't see any new ones coming up, so I think we're good to proceed. Thanks again. Let me go ahead and take control back here.